Hey everybody. I've been having a difficult time making this video. Uh of course, at this point I am looking to ride off into the sunset. I feel like I've essentially, you know, accomplished everything that I've been looking to personally with this whole venture online and I think that I'm ready to move on. But I think that I owe everybody one last look at exactly what happened last night. Charles Oliveira, for the most part, he followed the game plan that we drew up for him. I mean, he did. And of course, right, you can always look at certain sequences and say, well, he should have done something a little different there. He should have done something a little different here, which, I mean, you could always say that about pretty much any sequence. But, for the most part, we're living and dying with the game plan that we drew up for him. I really don't think there was much of an alternative. I think that, based on specifically what Oliveira's skill set and what his capabilities were, I think that was really his only chance. But, of course, the fight was short enough that we can pretty much just go through the whole thing. The fight opens up and Oliveira does exactly what we wanted him to do. Comes out really high guard, immediately looking to pressure, lands a couple of really good teeps, puts Ilia on the back foot. He looks to immediately attack the calf, which is exactly what we want. Ilia times Charles's calf kicks with some jabs, and he lands it, but again, we're taking that. All right, we're taking that. The goal against somebody like Ilia is just do not expose your chin. While you're attacking, while you're striking, do not expose your chin. That's pretty much, all you can really ask for here. But from there, they have their very first exchange in the pocket. And this is always going to be terrifying against Ilia, but, as we talked about in the breakdown for this fight, that Ilia does have moments while he's throwing that he's susceptible to getting countered. And that is exactly what happened here. Oliveira lands a huge elbow and then a right hand right behind it. Ilia answers back with a lead hook, but doesn't land it super flush. This sequence ends up working out for us, but again, in my perfect world, I would say let's just not throw any punches with Ilia out in the center. Let's just keep up the high guard and let's just keep fucking teeping. And let's save our punches for when Ilia throws them first while we have him up against the fence is obviously what we would want in a perfect world. But, it's not what ended up happening. But, regardless, Charles then shoots for a takedown. And, I will say Charles did seem very strong in the clinch, got the double unders, shoved Ilia up against the fence. And from here, with the double unders, Oliveira kind of goes for a bit of like a throw/trip. He tries to use his left leg to trip Ilia as he drags him to the ground, but Ilia ends up on top. But, Oliveira is no stranger to this. He essentially did the exact same thing against Beneil Dariush. He just, completely pulled guard against Islam Makhachev. So, this is an area that honestly Charles probably wanted to be in. He puts Ilia in closed guard, but then lets go of closed guard. Ilia immediately passes, sort of gets a crucifix, but, as soon as he gets to the crucifix, Oliveira just hikes him forward, gets back to half guard, and immediately throws up a leg lock. And look, based on how this fight ended up, you guys got to let me have at least this one thing. Because, funny, while we were watching this live, there were a lot of people coming in saying, wow, and Ilia even dominated him in the grappling. I mean, look, say what you will. I don't think that is what happened in this sequence. I don't know. It's not how I would describe it. But what I will say is, holy shit, shooting a leg lock like this on Ilia Topuria is sure playing with fucking fire. Man, we all know what happened to Gary Tonin when he was fighting Ton Lee over at 1. Like, this is a fucking scary position to be in, but, Oliveira legitimately did really well here. He actually trips Ilia with his other leg. Ilia falls over. We get the sweep, and then Ilia from here does the exact same leg lock defense Islam Makhachev used against Charles. This defense is called getting the fuck out of there, which, effective. And then from there, Ilia stands up, and, Ilia didn't want to go back to the ground with Charles, which, again, based on how the fight ended up going, is a very smart move, because Ilia, even getting to such a dominant position like this, just immediately gets put into a submission attempt. This was not where he was going to win the fight. So he made the smart choice, I think. So, I mean, again, right, to say that Ilia Topuria was dominating the grappling exchanges, I don't think is fair and representative of what happened. He did land this one, really good ground and pound shot, but, apart from that, I don't think that is a fair synopsis of that sequence. But, anyway, they end up back on the feet. Charles, immediately gets back onto the pressure, has a really tight guard, and Ilia lands some fucking huge shots here. But again, Charles was just, in these sequences, is doing a very good job hiding his chin. And, again, I'm sure these shots didn't feel good, but we're living and dying with our ability to eat these punches to the temple. Again, right here, he's doing what he needs to do. He's hiding the chin very, very well. He goes to clinch Ilia again. And, I think he does, again, seem a lot stronger in this exchange. And from here, I think this is where Charles's pressure really shined. Again, like we talked about in the breakdown, you need to get Ilia's feet moving backwards. As long as he is moving backwards is where his game really gets muted. Oliveira lands a good uppercut here. But then, of course, they end up right in the center. And from here, Charles extends in with a right hand. And fuck, the timing and the accuracy of this shot is just what is so astounding to me. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Ilia's power. That, to me, is not what is so impressive here. I don't think I've ever seen a shot timed better than this one. Oliveira just didn't see it coming. He caught him right in the middle of the punch, right on the tip of the chin. The accuracy is fucking brutally insane. I mean, you go back to, when Dustin Poirier fought Oliveira. Dustin had some very clean counters, but, you look at a lot of these punches, right? It's after Charles Oliveira throws. Obviously, Oliveira goes into the fire with Dustin Poirier, goes to throw a shot, and after the shot, Dustin lands a counter. This sequence is just not even comparable. Again, Ilia hit him in the middle of punching. I don't think I've ever seen a punch with better timing than this one. I don't think I've ever seen a shot better timed in the sport of MMA than that shot right there. I mean, Ilia Topuria is just fucking on another level. And, again, like I alluded to earlier, someone can always say, oh, well, actually, I mean, Charles, he shouldn't have extended in with that right hand. He should have just kept up the high guard. He had just shown right before this that he was able to eat, fully wound up hooks and overhands to the temple, no problem. He should have just kept hiding the chin, kept keeping, obviously, theoretically, yeah. But look, over a 5-round fight, even if in that sequence Oliveira didn't overextend with the right hand, I mean, Ilia was probably going to find his chin at some other point, theoretically. Again, at the end of the day, Oliveira fought his game. Oliveira did what he does, He went after Ilia just like he said he was gonna, just like he did to Dustin Poirier, just like he did to Justin Gaethje, just like he tried to do to Islam Makhachev. And, again, to me, I feel like we kind of have to live or die with that strategy. I mean, what did you want? Charles Oliveira skirting around on the outside with head movement and circling and spinning and popping the jab? That's not what his game is. That's not what his skill set is. That's never been his strength. I think he would have got knocked out a lot worse if he tried to do that. I think we kind of have to live or die by the sword of what Oliveira's game is. And again, I did my best at trying to figure out where Oliveira could theoretically have advantages. I think he showed in very brief moments that a lot of that held true, but Ilia's just such a fucking monster, and that's how it goes. You give him one opening, and he cracks you with the most accurate, well-timed shot I have literally ever seen. I've never seen a shot timed better than that. I mean, the only one I think that I can look back to was Poaton's knockout in the LFA, but obviously this is in the fucking LFA, not against, fucking Charles Oliveira, former champion, But, of course, as recency bias tends to go a little bit, a lot of people are saying, well, Islam Makhachev is now going to get knocked out if he fights Ilia. Obviously, Islam Makhachev, completely different fight than Charles Oliveira. He's going to have a completely different approach, and he has a different skill set. I think that the danger for Islam is he does have a tendency to get backed up to the fence a lot. Because, of course, on the feet, Islam is very risk-adverse. He always looks to move away, to circle, to stay safe, to not, run into punches cleanly like, Charles Oliveira kind of did last night. The problem is, though, again, when Ilia Topuria gets you backed up to the fence is where the danger of getting knocked out ramps up to about an 11. I think that, out in space, I don't think Islam is going to be stepping in with any hard right hands against Ilia. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen. So the exact danger of a sequence like this playing out is fairly unlikely. But I think, overall, Oliveira did look very strong against Ilia in the clinch anytime they ended up there. Theoretically, Islam is going to be way stronger. I mean, of course, Ilia Topuria, it's not a secret, he did not put on any extra weight to fight at 155. He's just cutting less. Like, his lean body mass is probably about the same, maybe a little bit better, obviously, but not by any big margin. So theoretically, you would assume that someone like Islam can replicate a lot of the success that Max Holloway had on the outside, moving, making Ilia miss, stepping and landing counters, but also being able to shoot and also being able to clinch, which is just another area to take the fight that someone like Max Holloway couldn't do. So, look, theoretically, I do think you're probably still going to have to lean towards Islam to win the fight. But again, that's the thing about Ilia Topuria. It's just like, man, if you give him this, I think Islam's done. And it's, up to Islam to just really make sure this doesn't happen. I think that Islam and Team Habib traditionally usually have very rock-solid game plans. I think that they have more of an ability to game plan for specifics even better than Oliveira does. But again, right, that's the thing about Ilia. It's always going to be so interesting and always going to be so scary. So I really think that is what it's going to come down to, is can Islam avoid situations like this? If he can't, Ilia might become a 3-weight world champion if he wins the welterweight title. But, on a completely unrelated slight side tangent, I missed this because I turned off the pay-per-view as soon as things started getting ugly. But why the fuck was Paddy Pimblett in the octagon after the fight? What? What? Like, wait, what? How? That isn't, what? Really? Are we serious? What? Like, dude, fucking Paddy Pimblett was getting picked up and taken down by Michael Chandler in his very last fight. And the only thing that saved Paddy was the fact that Michael Chandler's dog shit and kept sliding off the top when he was trying to take the back. Like, what? I'm so confused here. Who thought that was a good idea? Did someone actually think that's a good idea? Does someone really think that this is the next fight to make? Because that is literal insanity. I mean, give me Arman Tsarukyan or fucking give me death is what I say. All right, or just fucking let Ilia just sit out and wait for the winner of JDM versus Islam. I mean, there's no good that can come out of this fight. Like, what the fuck are we doing? But I mean, look. With all that being said, I want to thank all you guys for being on this journey with me. I mean, I've had a really good time doing it. Again, I couldn't have asked for a better fan base and better supporters. I love all you guys so much. I really appreciate all you guys for being a part of the fan club while it lasted. And, thank you for you guys just believing in me and my abilities to I don't know. But, thank you guys, and I guess I'll see you later.